Welcome to another edition of All Octaves with me, Val Kleinhans. I have the one, the only Mandi Crimmins in the building. If you don't know who she is, I'm just going to set the vibe by reading a paragraph that I found on her website. Mandi Crimmins is a chaotic demon on your shoulder that you cannot stop listening to. The first sentence just says it right there. Sitting at the intersection of alternative and pop electronica, this edgy artist weaves a story that's both relatable and poetic facts with fiery angst, haunting vocals, iconic red curls. Mandi introduces herself introduces a sense of danger and excitement into the alternate universe. Welcome to the chaos and welcome, Mandi.
Thank you. This is a bad time to have my hair straight after reading that.
I can see it's still red though. Like you're
Yes.
you,
Oh
you,
yeah,
you
it's been red for 5 years, maybe six by now.
do you dye it yourself or do you have someone do it?
It's been like an evolution because I used to dye it myself.
Mm,
And now I have someone who does it. We have like pink at the top. It's just like curated. It's
okay.
amazing. I'm obsessed.
Especially for you and the many
Yes.
nuances that make you you.
Yes. Very true.
Exactly. Well, I would love to go back just to the very beginning. Do you remember the moment that you realized you wanted to take singing seriously and make a career out of it?
Ooh, yes, I do. I was very young. I think I was probably 12, 13, and I had just gotten over having prenodes, vocal prenodes, which is basically just like cysts on your vocal cords.
Oh,
And
okay.
I hadn't been able to sing for about a year and a half. I couldn't even speak. Before that, it was very casual. I just needed a hobby. I needed a thing. And then I lost the ability to sing. And coming back from that and learning the proper techniques and relearning how to sing, it just, I realized how much it meant to me. And I started performing and I was like, oh, I feel at home on stage. I feel like I can be me. I feel like this is where I'm meant to be. So yeah, it's probably 12, 13 years old.
Yeah, I hear that a lot about other musicians that I interview. They usually say somewhere around there. Somewhere in high school is when they go, yeah, it's definitely what I want to be doing. Was it
I feel
challenging
like,
to not have that when you were dealing with your notes? Because I know that you particularly write about music as a creative outlet for your own mental health.
oh yeah, it was very difficult. I think especially I also couldn't really, I was very hoarse even speaking, and I love
Mm,
talking. So it was really difficult because I just like couldn't express myself at all.
mm.
It just really taught me to appreciate and take care of things and yourself. And, I mean, I was really young, but I was like, okay, I really miss singing. I need to, well, what can I do to make sure this never happens again? And I'm like so far on the other end now. I'll be out and I'll be like, you know what? I can't really hear myself. I think I'm straining. I think I need to like maybe vocal rest the rest of the night. I'm a big stickler on vocal health now.
So, did you have a vocal teacher teach you that, or did you sort of figure it out on your own?
Yes. I had a vocal teacher, Barbara. She was my vocal therapist first. She taught me how to like retrain just speaking. And then it became voice lessons after that. Once I'd recovered, I
Mm.
regained the ability to sing. Became like vocal lessons. And I stayed with her until I went to college. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. I
yeah.
appreciate that a lot of your music discusses mental health, depression, anxiety, anything like that. I would imagine to be able to write that, I'll just say the answer to this might be yes, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. I wanted to ask if you have struggled with your own mental health before.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I always tell people that if you've like heard my music, you know so much about me. You might not realize how much you know about me, but I tend to write most, if not all. I want to even say every song that I've ever put out has so much truth to it, and it's coming from real life experiences with me, real feelings.
Mm.
Um, Last year, I got diagnosed with borderline personality disorder,
Mm.
and that just kind of threw me for a loop. And I ended up putting out an EP about it because it was so hard to process, and how I process is by writing about it. So I just wrote all these songs. I didn't even realize I was really writing about it at first. That's just kind of how my brain works. It's like, we need to get this out of here.
Yeah.
How do we do that? And so I just wrote all these songs. And yeah, so I definitely have struggled with mental health. That's
Yeah.
why I try to talk about it a lot, so that I always felt like there wasn't enough conversation about mental health. There wasn't enough, people weren't talking about it enough, and they weren't talking about the truth of it, how it really feels on this side of it, how it feels in this body that's mentally ill.
Mm-hmm.
More than just the general, oh, I'm mentally ill. It's like, how does that feel, the nuances. So I really try to be as open as I can with my struggles, so that people are like, okay, same, I feel that.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's probably why you've built the fan base that you have, because there's millions of us that struggle in one way or another. For me, I've had bouts with anxiety and depression both. I'm still on medication for it. I don't know what I would do without the medication for it, but
I feel that.
yeah, like you with your writing, for me, journaling is definitely something that helps me. And I would imagine your writing and everything you do with music helps you feel so much better too. Have you encountered fans that say thank you and thank you for being so open?
Yes, I have. I try to check my messages as often as I can, um, because I get these beautiful messages of just people being like, I feel like they're meeting my vulnerability with their own vulnerability, and I don't realize it until I'm reading a message
Yeah.
from someone just bearing their soul to me and telling me how they heard my song and it's helping them through a difficult time, telling me about the difficult time and just opening up. It's I usually take a moment, and it throws me in like the best way, because I realize how impactful this can be.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember looking up to artists when I was young, and
Oh yeah.
it's crazy to be on the other. Yeah, it's crazy, but I do get messages, and they mean everything, because that's why I do this. That's why I want to do this.
Yeah, I think that's why any creative wants to do that. They're searching not just for self-assurance, but they want to feel some sort of connection. And
Oh, absolutely.
they're like, okay, here's my input into the world.
Yeah,
Please connect with it. Like, or okay, if you don't, you don't, but hopefully you
yeah,
do.
right. And I think that I feel like, no, I don't say it enough, but it helps me as well so
Mm-hmm.
much. Like the messages and people telling me how much my songs mean to them, like them loving them helps me and heals me. Putting these songs out, it's just like the reception, just, oh yeah. So it's very reciprocal. We're all just, it's like I always wanted to build like a community instead of a fan base, and put on a pedestal, and people feeling like, oh, she doesn't have any struggles, and she looks so cool, and she's just like up here. And I'm like, no, we're sliving. We're both at the same level.
Yeah, we're not as different as you think.
No, no.
Well, I feel like you're really good at that, in that you curate your content to find your audience. Specifically, one of my favorite reels that I've seen of yours was the one that was captioned, posting my music until every Paramore Evanescence, Royal and the Serpent, and the Haunt fan finds me. Now, if that's not specific, I don't know what is. It's like, if this is you, this is
Right.
also me. Come join the club.
Yes. I actually just filmed a bunch of content that basically is like that too. I'm like, hi, I'm mentally ill like this. Are you too? Cool. I got another song coming out. You'd love it. I'm just trying to be as, direct as possible. Like, I'm here. I know there's a lot going on, but I promise you'll like it.
Yeah. Your own experience has taught you that, mental health is not something that's easily discussed or openly discussed. And you're kind of turning that on its head now, doing what you're doing with your music. Where did you find the courage to speak up? Because sometimes that's the hardest first step.
Ooh, it definitely is the hardest first step. I spent a long time it, even before when I first started putting music out, I felt like I was keeping these barriers up, these walls to kind of be a little vulnerable. It was like sprinkling in like, some truth, but not giving you my whole self, because it is terrifying. It's very scary to speak up about stuff like this, because you're just opening yourself up for opinions, judgment, people to just uh, see you. And it took me a long time to, I think, see myself enough to be okay enough to let other people see me. And I mean, I'm still trying to see myself and figure myself out. But it just got to this point where I just needed to speak up for me. I needed to bare my soul for me. I needed the healing in return that, I mentioned. Like I need to feel that support and feel that camaraderie and that like community sense of like, we are all struggling. Like I'll write these lyrics that are so gut-wrenchingly truthful. They come out at like 2 a.m. and people will like tell me that's their favorite line. And it's crazy because I'm like, that is just so to my core, my truth, and it's your truth. So I don't feel alone anymore. So this whole journey of releasing music and talking about my mental health and being so vulnerable about it has healed me, made me feel better.
Yeah. And that's the goal, really, at the end of the day. And why ideas always come at 2 a.m. The best ones always come at 2 a.m. They do for me too.
Yeah, they always do. All of my notes are like 2 a.m, 3 a.m. I'll have like voice memos that are just so hard to hear. What was that?
Because you're trying not to wake up the entire house, but you're like,
Oh
I need
yeah.
to get this out.
Yeah, I'm like, this is good. This needs to come out. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it could have stayed.
You ever play it back and go, ooh, what was that?
Yes. Yes, a lot actually. Yeah. I'm like, wow. I'm like, that could have been good if it was clear. Also. If it wasn't 3 a.m. and I had some coffee, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. I totally agree with you in that community around you and support around you is so important too. I mean, first off, it's nice to know someone's there. Second off, it's nice to also have someone around who will keep you in check. I think
Yes.
you have a kick-ass manager just in the little bit of interaction that I've had with him. He was super
He's the
responsive
best.
and helpful when it came to setting this up. And, it made me think, for anybody listening, this might be helpful to them. Let's say that there's somebody thinking they might want a manager for themselves too. From an artist's perspective, what do you think it takes to be a good manager?
I think you have to know the artists that you're managing,
Mm,
know them to their core, know what their goals are, but also know what makes them tick, what they struggle with, what makes them happy, hear them out and see the music that they're releasing, really see what they're going for.
mm-hmm.
Because I think if you don't, then you're not gonna get it, and I can honestly say that my manager does get it, and he's very supportive, and it's great. It really is. um when people aren't trying to kind of steer you in a
Mm,
way that's like, I think you should be this and put in this box. And I definitely had experiences where I felt put into a box of like, you really can't do that because you're not that, or I don't really think that's going to work.
yeah.
And this has been an experience where I'm like, oh wow, you think I should, you think that's a good idea, or you think I should just try it, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So I think that respect, mutual respect as well.
Mm. I've
Great.
been in that situation where because I used to do radio, I was put into a box a lot of the time too. Like, this is what we think the host of this type of music show should sound like. And it was like, skirt, no,
Yeah.
no, sir. No, sir.
Oh yeah.
Because it gets so subjective that it does royally fuck with your head. It does,
Oh
because
yeah.
you feel like you can never make that person happy. And
No,
yeah.
no, exactly. And it's like, I, for a long time, didn't want to disclose that I was queer because I felt like I was going to be boxed in immediately to
Really.
like making like music that's only for certain people. And then it was going to just ostracize me from maybe potential people. And that was what I was being told. And it was so hard to know that I don't have to be, I don't have to be boxed. I don't have to box myself. I don't have to let other people box me. These are just like facets of me. Like I make pop rock music. I happen to be queer. I have red hair. I dress like a vampire. I've been told. The amount of people on my birthday that told me like happy birthday, like vampire queen, it was a lot. It was a lot. I was like, all right, we're it's coming across.
We got the memo. The vibe.
Yeah,
the vibe is understood.
Yeah, it was great. But yeah, I think just not boxing yourself. Oh, it's hard.
It is hard. It was harder because you want to make people happy. You want to please them. And when you find out that you're not meeting their needs and also that their needs are ever changing, you're just like, am I ever even going to be enough for you?
I'm a people pleaser. So
right.
I will do whatever you want. If it'll make you happy, I'm probably going to want to do it.
Yeah, I think a lot of creatives are. And I think a lot of creatives struggle with that. So what was the point when you said, no more, I'm just going to be me?
I think it just got to a point where I just didn't feel happy. And music is just like, I feel like it flows in my blood. It's just so integral to myself, being an artist, releasing music, writing music, that when I wasn't being truthful about myself, when I wasn't being 100% authentic, dressing how I wanted, being how I wanted, talking, all of that, I didn't love it as much. It felt like a job. It felt very separated. And I was like, no, nope. I remember thinking to myself, okay, if I tell people about all these parts of myself, or if I am open about this and I lose followers, or I lose potential people working with me, or I lose whatever, then that's a loss I didn't need. Those are people I didn't need in my life. Those are fans I didn't want. Those are, just things like that, where it's like, you'll find your tribe when you are authentically yourself. You will find the right people, the right friends, the right management, the right fans, the right everything, when you are 100% yourself.
Really quickly too. I've definitely learned that as I've gotten older as well. Well, I would love to hear all about Self-Destruct. I know we're excited for that new release.
I am so excited. That was what the content I was filming was about. This song is, I say this about all of them because I feel at the time I always feel like it's the most vulnerable song. They're all vulnerable, but this one it was like last winter. I was at a very low point with my mental health. Just very depressed, very I mentioned I have BPD, and I was just kind of like a ticking time bomb that was just detonating daily. I just couldn't stop. I don't know. I was so not okay, and trying to be okay, and trying to release music, trying to do things that make me happy, refamiliarize myself with myself. But the problem with mental health is that, sometimes when you're feel like you're exploding, there's collateral damage, and there's, so I was just a mess to everyone around me. And it makes, you're aware. I'm unfortunately very self-aware person. I wish some days I wasn't, but I just knew that I was hurting people that loved me. And just the inability to fix it, the inability to kind of get myself back on track for a while. So I had a session during that time, and we just kind of started writing, and the lyrics that came out of me were just self-destruct, and then it was, I ruin all that I love. Those are the first lines that I wrote, because I felt like I was ruining everything around me that I loved. Everyone around me, every good thing I had going on, I was just like punching out at everything. And it's just such a depressing feeling, such a sad feeling. Because so that's where that kind of came from, is needing to write about it, needing to write about that feeling that couldn't get out of my head of like, I ruin everything. And honestly, after that session, things did get better. I think saying to myself that I was a self-destructive mess, that I was hurting people, that I was, an explosion that was hurting everything around me. I think I needed to face that. Nothing, says that more than writing a song about it, hearing it. And so, yeah, that's where that kind of came from. So very, very, very personal, very meaningful for me.
Definitely comes from the heart. I mean, I'm somewhat familiar with borderline personality disorder too. And for anyone that has it, and for anybody that doesn't know what it is, that's the last thing anybody with that disorder wants to do, is have people abandon them, have people feel like they're a shitty person. Like that's the last thing anybody wants, but it becomes this sort of self-sabotage because you cling to that person because you don't want to be abandoned. And yet that's where the sabotage begins. So I don't know, it might help anybody listening that's not familiar, just to understand that a level of compassion is necessary there.
Oh, yeah.
It's not this intent to hurt, but sometimes it just happens.
No. And it's just like, I was thinking about it earlier, and it was like, it's like yelling at someone, telling them to leave, but then being like, wait, why are you leaving?
Yeah.
Why are you going? I don't want you to go, even though I just like told you to leave, and like, you shouldn't love me because I don't feel like people should love me. That's for me to fix. But you can't, it's just it's so hard. It is like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Because you don't want people to leave, but you end up hurting them. And then, so it's a very, very difficult, illness. I've had it, a long time, but it's just the realization that is what I do, and that's what's going on is, it's hard.
Yeah, but it's probably half the battle, because now that you're aware, it's something that you can actively work on, something you can actively improve. As hard as it is, you can always get there. You can always make an effort toward it. And I love that you're doing that through music. I think that's why music is one of the most therapeutic things in the world.
Agreed.
Really.
Agreed. And that's like why I wanted to make that EP, because when I was starting to put together the EP, I was, that was around that winter time, January, February, even, where I was still not doing so great. But the process of writing these songs and releasing them and hearing them, and that whole journey of releasing that EP, I like became way more stable, way more happy. It healed doing that. So it's definitely, music is definitely healing. And that is why I've been writing about what I do.
Other than self-destruct, what else can we look forward to? What else can we get excited about?
Oh, I have songs coming out, I think, until right now. I have enough for like spring, summer next year.
Okay.
I have another song coming out next. It might come out before the end of the year. Really personal. Of course, it's like, they're all personal. I don't know why I even try to be like, this one's really personal. They're all really personal. I have some really cool songs coming out. I'm hoping to do another show soon in LA for now. I'd like to do shows other places. We're working on that.
Yeah, I'd love to have you in Minnesota. We'd have you any day, just maybe not in the winter. It's a little rough here in the winter. But
that's all right. I'm from Massachusetts. I feel like,
okay. So
I feel like I've been prepped for that. Yeah, the 10-degree days. Like,
and the 12 inches of snow on the ground that doesn't melt for months. Yeah.
My first year of college, there was 6 feet of snow in Boston.
And it just doesn't melt because it's still that cold.
No, it was like a record amount of snow. It was just snowdrifts that were like so high. I've just had to adapt to California weather. I'm like, God, it's so hot. Is this okay?
Like, is this normal? Is this what
I'm like, it's October. It's spooky season. Why is it 100 degrees out? This is offensive.
I know. This is my favorite season too. I'm all about it. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna like pop in some Blair Witch after this, maybe.
Oh
Just
yeah,
to keep it
yeah.
up.
I actually got this top at a Halloween store. It's like a
Nice.
costume store, and it's like definitely intended for like costume wear. And I'm like, oh, cool, a new going
No.
out shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Halloween decor is home decor. I don't care what anybody
Oh yeah,
says.
yeah. Oh yeah. My girlfriend and I just our whole place, our whole like self is just adorned with like Halloween stuff. But it's all year. We're all year round.
I love it. I can't wait to see what's to come. Mandi, thank you so much for hanging out with me and chatting with me.
Thank you so much. This has been so great.